What's going on, guys? Recon here, and welcome back to another video. And in today's video I will be giving you guys my full review of the Moto G 5G 2024. I have it here in the green sage colorway, and I do have some thoughts on it. I did spend the last week using it as my daily driver, quote unquote daily driver. Y'all see why later on in the video, but I do have a lot of thoughts on it, so let's get with the review. So guys, before I start going into the good stuff about this phone, the bad stuff about this phone, I just want to give you guys overall some quick specs of this phone. This phone does come with two lenses, one being a 50 megapixel main sensor, and then the other one being a macro sensor, which is actually a pretty good thing to get on a budget phone. Getting a macro lens, but I would have, in my personal opinion, I would have probably preferred getting an ultra wide lens over the macro lens. But you know what? It's okay. If you're into macro photography, then this will give you that macro photography on it. Now, one thing I will say about the cameras, just because it has 50 megapixel, it really doesn't let you use the full 50 megapixel. It just uses the lens, just like the iPhone 14 did when it came out, the 14 Pro, which had the 48 megapixel, but it just lowered it down to the megapixel count. It was just a sensor, but it didn't let you use the full length of the 48 megapixel. Same thing here with the 50 megapixel. But besides that, it does have a vegan leather finish on the back, which I actually do like it. And again, I will show this phone again, but I know this phone is pretty outdated. It's like what 4 years ago this phone came out, but with the Moto E 2020, it at least doesn't have the glass back. I will say that it at least doesn't have a glass back, or it doesn't have the finish of the Moto G Play, which is even cheaper than this one, which is actually the startup of the line of the Moto G phones for this year. But I do like how it has the vegan leather, and it definitely gives you grip to it, and it gives you that sense of security that you won't be dropping it. You see right there, the Face ID was actually pretty quick. That's one thing I actually do like about this phone, that it does come with the option to use the fingerprint sensor, which just comes embedded on the power button, and it also gives you the option to use Face ID. But besides that, besides the vegan leather, it does come with an LCD panel of 120 hertz refresh rate. You do actually have to set the 120 hertz refresh rate on settings. It doesn't come out the box. It comes with 60 hertz, but that's what you have to do. But of course, it's gonna consume battery life if you use it. But you know what? Might as well. 60 hertz in 2024 is just isn't it, in my opinion. Definitely not giving Apple shots right there with their new iPhone 16, still at 60 hertz, but it's whatever. They're doing it for a reason. I can just imagine why. But besides that, it does have a 6.6 inch display. Of course, we do have a big chin right here at the bottom. But honestly, it's really minor. And one thing I did notice while watching the other phones, watching other tech YouTubers reviewing the other phones, like the G Stylus, the G Power, and the G Play, the bezels and especially this bottom chin does start decreasing based on which one you get. The Moto G Play does have a bigger chin than this one. The G Power has a smaller chin, and of course the G Stylus just doesn't have a chin like this. It has an even out bezels, but besides that, this chin is really minor. The whole week that I used this phone, I just didn't really care about the chin. I just something that I didn't notice because it's not that big of a chin like some other budget phones have. But like I said, it's really just a minor thing. I don't really mind the chin at all. It's actually pretty good. And this does come with 8 gigs of RAM. It's really not 8 gigs of RAM. It's just a RAM boost. It comes with 4 gigs of RAM. And the thing with this one out the box, and I didn't even note this. I didn't even notice until like I was messing around with the phone. You have to go specifically to settings and put that RAM boost up to be able to take advantage of 8 gigs of RAM. It's just something I just don't know why it just doesn't come out like that out the box, but Motorola has its reasons to why not doing that. This one also comes with a 5,000 milliamp hour battery, and it comes with the 800 nits peak brightness. I will be showing you guys one clip that I did record outside, trying to see if you could see the screen at with the sun outside being so bright, and it's such a struggle. I won't lie, it is such a big struggle being able to see the screen on the light conditions, depending if it's really sunny or if it's cloudy. If it's cloudy, of course you're gonna be able to see it, but on sunny days it's really hard to see the panel. It's really hard to see the screen because it only has 800 nits peak brightness. It's really not that much, but of course it's a budget phone. It's a budget phone, so I cannot complain about that. Alright guys, I'm inside a mall and I'm about to show you guys how the screen looks at max brightness. This is the screen at max brightness at 800 nits peak brightness. So guys, about the packaging of this phone, I will say that it's pretty minor, as y'all could have seen on my quick unboxing and first impressions. Yes, I do save everything in the box. I don't throw it to the trash. I am using the cable, so the cable came here. It came with a SIM ejector tool and some booklets. It's pretty minor. I don't really care about the unboxing experience. It's really just $200 that you're going to be max. No, please don't spend $200. But besides that, just it doesn't matter how much you spend. If you spend the $200, I swear, you don't do it. But the unboxing experience of it is just minor. They are trying to be eco-friendly with it. They're trying to reduce the waste. So they're trying to do recycled materials, which is, it's okay, Mother Nature and all that, but it's just an okay unboxing experience when you're getting this phone to you. Alright guys, now I will be giving you guys my full experience for this past week with this phone. I will start off with maybe some good things. Um, you know what? Yeah, I'll start off with the good things for this phone. One thing I will say that I will give Motorola props on is, besides their biometrics, of course, their Face ID, their fingerprint scanner is all flawless. Another thing I will give Motorola is their battery life. Of course, it's a budget phone, so naturally it's not gonna consume that much power like if you were to compare it to a flagship phone. But besides that, this phone has really put me has really been able to let me use the phone throughout the whole day. I did do a battery strain test on my own, like how I use my S23 Ultra, because I am actually a heavy user. I'd probably get like around 5 to 6 hours screen on time, and unplugged it around, I want to say, 6 in the morning, and I came back home around 9, and it still had like around 58 to 60% still left on the phone. It definitely got me through the day. Taking mine at school, I don't really use the phone much because they take our phones. Um, so whenever I do have free time, I do use it. I was using it really heavily. I was giving it heavy usage, and it did last me the whole day. So the battery life with this phone is not a problem whatsoever. Of course, it comes with a 5,000 milliamp hour battery naturally, but we all know that 5,000 milliamp hour battery doesn't really matter. What matters is the usage you give it, and how the screen brightness you have it on. I did have it all the way on. As you can see, this is the brightest it gets. It doesn't get really bright, which is another reason why it doesn't consume that much battery. Of course, it has the 120 hertz refresh rate already on, which I can just imagine with just 60 hertz, this phone would have been like around 70% by the end of the day with my heavy usage. Um, but that has been extremely impressive for me, in my opinion, compared to the other phones that I've had that are around the same price, like the iPhone SE. If you haven't seen that video, go ahead and watch it. I did my full review on that video on that phone too. And this is where I go back to the price range. For the price range, you can get something better like this one over an iPhone SE. Gives you better battery life, but each to their own. Again, that's for that video. Go watch that video if you want to know more about that iPhone SE and my opinions of that. Now, another thing I will say, the build quality has been really impressive with me. As you see, no screen protector whatsoever, and I do have a scratch here. I'm not sure if you're able to see it on camera. Let me see if you can see it. Hold on. I do have a scratch right there. I haven't put a hold on. I think you can see it. I haven't put a screen protector whatsoever on this phone. I've rocked it naked. No case, in my opinion. There's no reason to put a case on this phone because it has the vegan leather. It doesn't get fingerprints whatsoever. The sides is plastic, of course, so it doesn't really matter. It doesn't get fingerprints. As y'all can see, it doesn't get any fingerprints, but the screen does, and it already has a scratch. And it's only been a week, and I haven't dropped it at all. This phone hasn't been dropped whatsoever. For it to have a scratch, I mean, it's alright. It's alright. I don't really care that much, but I gotta deal with it. I'm probably gonna put a screen protector. I'm not sure yet what I'm gonna do with this phone. I think I'm gonna just sell it. Or I don't know. I have to see, but I'll most likely definitely put a screen protector, and I recommend to put a screen protector so it doesn't get scratched up like that. And it only got that scratch because I just put it in my pocket, took it out of my pocket. And I do have other stuff in my pocket with it, like Sometimes I do carry my battery pack with it, so I have my battery pack and the phone like this, but it's still no reason for it to scratch. But I guess it's just the screen, the quality of the screen they put on is really weak and it's not scratch resistant whatsoever. Now, another, like I've mentioned it, one thing that I will give Motorola props on is their biometrics. That Face ID has been really, really quick. I don't know what I'm saying. It's Face Unlock, not Face ID. It's really, really quick. Look, hold on. Oops, hold on. One. Let's see if you can get three. Two. Three. Really, really quick, really smooth. I like it. I definitely like it. And I was curious about it, which I did try to do a side by side comparison with my S23 Ultra Face Unlock, and the S23 Ultra Face Unlock is a little bit faster and it's smoother, definitely. But for less than $200, even less than $100, if you get it through a carrier, some carriers do deals with it. Sometimes even free if you switch the carrier. For that price range, it is definitely smooth. I do like how they give that option. I really do like how they give that option, because there are some budget phones that they don't. But it's 2024, so phones are starting to get modernized with face unlock and the fingerprint scanner on the side button. Now, one thing I will say, I would have preferred, in my opinion, would have preferred our in-display fingerprint sensor like the Moto G stylus has, but of course, Motorola has to find some stuff to cut so they can sell the phone for even cheaper, and yeah, and all that stuff. Now, guys, one thing I will say is that I know you guys are gonna probably be asking how's the performance. I would do a little bit of gaming right now, and I will do browsing speed test. But one thing I will say is that I am glad this phone doesn't come with a MediaTek Dimensity chip. In my opinion, that's a really, really bad chip to put on a budget phone. Even if you're just trying to cut the price down, in my opinion, just don't. If you're gonna do that, I'd say get a cheaper, get not a cheaper, like get an old Snapdragon chip, in my opinion, and then put it on the budget phone like Motorola did with this phone. They put a Snapdragon 4 Gen 1, a really old chip, but to me it's just better than a MediaTek Dimensity chip. Now let's go with the browsing speed test. Open apple.com. Let's see how fast it is. So you see, it's pretty quick. I have seen some other phones, budget phones, like around the same price with the MediaTek Dimensity chip. I don't think, like, for a normal person won't notice the performance difference, but people like me that are really into it, that really like tech and stuff like that, they will definitely notice that performance difference, which is why I actually am happy Motorola didn't do that. Now let's go with the gaming session. We'll open Asphalt. As all of you know, this is a pretty high demanding one, high demanding game. I will play and I'll put it on max specs right now for you guys. Alright guys, so I'm now here on Asphalt 9. I did open it, so as you see, there isn't even more of a chin here. I don't know why, but let me lower down the volume. It's pretty loud, I'm not gonna lie. You see, that's the speaker test right there. It's actually it's a pretty decent speaker. But as you can see here, frame rate 60, mouse per hour. Let's see what else. Let's see what else can we do. Display graphics and settings. Let's see, high quality. There we go. This is most high quality you'll be able to get. So let's get on the game and see how that performance is, and if it even gets hot at all. We'll see. Alright guys, so now we're loading into a game, and one thing I will say is they're starting to get hot around this area, which is actually kind of concerning in my opinion. I don't really like how it gets warm in there, but we'll see. Let's test it out. And as you can see, that bezel did go out. It's not there anymore. Let's see. Yeah, I know, right? Ooh, I got him. Ooh, I got him too. Damn. Let's see. Oh, no. Ooh, I got him too. Hold on, I need to go get first place. Hold on. Hold on. We'll drift real quick. There we go. So, performance is actually gonna be okay with this phone. Let me lower down the volume again. But one thing I am really noticing right now is how hot it's getting right here on the back. This area right here is, you can really feel it. And the thing about it is that when you're gripping the phone, you grip it like this, so naturally your fingers are gonna rest in this part. Normally with the S23 Ultras, around somewhere around here where it gets hot, it doesn't, I don't really mind it because it's not where my fingers are at. But in this case with this phone, this is where the phone with the heat is at. So besides that, performance overall is just gonna be okay, and you're definitely gonna be feeling that little bit of heat on the phone while doing gaming sessions on it. So guys, now onto the bad stuff with this phone. Like I said on the previous clip, y'all saw me doing the gaming session. It gets really hot in this area. I don't like that, especially because it's so close up to the camera. It's not ideal. For me, it's not ideal, especially because this is where your fingers will rest on when you're doing the gaming sessions, gripping your phone like this. Another thing I will say that I did have a big problem with this phone, and it's been my biggest gripe right now, is that I have connected this phone with my Bose Quiet Comfort Ultra headphones. It's actually a pretty seamless connection. I could connect it with my S23 Ultra and with this one. But one thing I will say is Spotify has been extremely buggy for me while having my headphones connected. Now the reason I say that is because I was at school. My S23 Ultra was actually going down a battery because I was using it, and that's something I will touch on later. So while I was using my S23 Ultra, and I was supposed to use it as my main daily driver for the whole week. I did try to connect Spotify. I connected my headphones. I played Spotify. I pressed play on the music that I was on the song I was listening to, and I couldn't hear the song. All I heard was static. I had to disconnect it and reconnect it for it to be able to work properly. That has been a big gripe for me. I don't know if it's because I had it connected at the same time with my S23 Ultra or not. But one thing I will say is that I think I did it once or twice. I did disconnect it from my S23 Ultra and connected it to the Moto G, and it still did the same thing. It still did the same thing. I just didn't like it whatsoever. That experience just drove me off from probably saying that this one wasn't buggy at all. That has been a big gripe for me now. Second thing, this one has had a lot of hiccups. Even though it does have 120 hertz refresh rate, there has been times where it actually goes down to 60 hertz or probably even less. Even though I did put 120 hertz refresh rate, not standard or adaptive, I just put 120 hertz refresh rate, and it went down because of that hiccup. But going to control panels, there has been other stuff here. Like, one thing I don't like is how the brightness control is literally always at the top. You cannot put it at the bottom, like as soon as you swipe down and see it, like on the S23 Ultra. And that's just another thing I don't like. This phone lacks a lot of customization in my opinion. Like, there's no always on display. There's a peak display, like that. There's the peak display, but you cannot change it. You really can't change much on it. Although it is an Android phone, I actually will say the new iPhone 16 has more customization than this phone. I really don't like how this phone has a lot of lack of customization. I did leave it on the default wallpaper and everything, as y'all can see. I didn't really change it much. I didn't find the need to do it because I didn't feel like this phone was mine, and I will touch on that in a little bit right now. And another thing I will say is the RAM, bro. The RAM on this phone is just not it for me. 4 gigs of RAM with just RAM boost. It's pretty trash in my opinion, doing that. If you're gonna say it comes with 4 to up to 8 gigabytes of RAM, just don't release the phone. Don't release the phone, in my opinion. I'm not trying to hate on Motorola. I'm really not trying to hate, because actually do like Motorola. It was my first phone, and one thing I will say is that the Motorola Razr is actually pretty a whole different experience compared to the other ones. I still haven't seen the stylus. I haven't touched. I still haven't experienced it myself, but I have experienced the Motorola and the Motorola Plus. If y'all want to see a review of that, let me know in the comments down below, and I'll definitely do the review for the Motorola or the Motorola Plus. Y'all let me know which one y'all want to see. It's definitely a whole different experience compared to this one. But like going back into the RAM situation, I don't like how it has RAM boost. It's not the same. Having RAM boost is not the same as having the normal RAM. Like 4 gigs of RAM up to 8 gigs of RAM with RAM boost. It's not gonna be the same as just having a phone with 8 gigs of RAM. It's gonna be a whole different experience. And even yet, having 8 gigs of RAM on the phone really isn't it. It's just not it. But it's a budget phone, so there's no complaints there. Like on my S23 Ultra, that's a thing I do have a gripe on my S23 Ultra, which I will say it on my full review when I do get out my review. I'm not sure when I'll record it, but I do plan on doing a review of my S23 Ultra. Having 8 gigs of RAM won't last you on the long run whatsoever. Now imagine 4 gigs of RAM. It's not really good whatsoever. Now another thing that I did say back, I said that I was using my S23 Ultra instead of this one, and now I'm gonna touch on that. The reason I was using my S23 Ultra is because I found myself constantly going back to my S23 Ultra, and mainly because of just the UI, the Moto skin on it is just not it for me. I don't really like the Moto skin. Compared to the One UI skin, it's better for me. Samsung overall is just Samsung and Google is just the king of Androids in my opinion. If you're gonna go for an Android phone, like a top tier Android phone like the S23 Ultra or the Pixel 9 Pro or the Pro XL or the Fold or the Z Fold, Z Flip, whatever, the what's it called? The Motorola the One UI experience and the Google experience stock Android is just way better than the Motorola skin in my opinion. Which is a reason why I found myself going back to my S23 Ultra every day. And another thing I will say is the display, which is another reason why I went back to my S23 Ultra. As y'all know, it has QHD on the S23 Ultra, while this one only comes at 720p. 720p. You can definitely pick out pixels. I don't know if I can put it up close to the screen. Y'all can definitely pick up pixels. Like right there, you see? Right there where it says Moto, you can pick up pixels right there. It's something I really don't like about this phone. You can pick up single pixels. You should have at least gone for a 1080p screen in my opinion. It's just when you see pixels on a phone, when you're able to pick it up, even with just good lighting, even at max lighting or just overall good lighting condition, you're still able to pick up the pixels. Is really such a red flag for me on the phone. It's not what I like. I don't like that. And it's probably also because I am used to a flagship phone. I've been rocking my S23 Ultra for almost 2 years now. When the S25 Ultra comes out, of course, that's going to be my 2-year mark. But, of course, I've been with flagship phones. And my previous phone from the S23 Ultra was the iPhone 13, 60 Hz refresh rates, but at least the screen was better. So going back to a budget phone like how I was back in 2020, if I was still using this phone, I would have definitely said this one is a way better phone, and I would have found it incredible. But it's not it. To me, it's really just being able to pick up pixels has been a big gripe for me. Now moving on to the next thing, the haptic feedback of this phone, it's not okay, but it's not really bad. It's just in between bad and okay. It's in between bad and okay. Typing experience isn't really good whatsoever. Let's see, who can I hold on? Who can I send? Let me send a quick text to someone real quick. Boom. Hold on. Let's do a typing experience. You see, the typing experience isn't really good whatsoever in my opinion compared to like an S23 Ultra. And again, I know you guys are probably gonna be saying you're still comparing it to an S23 Ultra, which is a flagship phone. And the reason I am comparing it to a S23 Ultra is because it is my main driver, my mainly driver. So of course I do have some probably a little bit of bias towards that, and especially because I'm just used to the good quality of the phone. Which is why I'm giving it a lot of like negative feedback. But Motorola, you kind of missed a spot here. With this phone, I would have definitely said this phone is probably one of the best, probably top five best budget phones. But it's just the display has been the gripe. The situation I had with Spotify has been another gripe for me. The haptic feedback, just and the RAM, just the RAM has been all every single thing that I did, every single bad thing that I just said has been the big gripe for me. Uh, if I would say if Motorola could at least just fix the screen, like instead of having 720p, you could probably up it up to 1080p. Then I would definitely put this on the top five budget phones. Even and possibly even the RAM boost. Don't put 4 gigs of RAM if you're gonna put low RAM on a phone, on a budget phone. At least put six. I know this phone isn't meant to like be kept for like 3, 4, or 5 years. This one is just mainly for you to keep it for like 1 year, max 2 years. Um, which is why I guess they just put 4 gigs of RAM, but at least put 6 gigs of RAM in my opinion. No RAM boost, none of that. Put 6 gigs of RAM so we can have a little bit of a better experience compared to 4 gigs of RAM, which is actually plays a big major part on the performance and the user experience while having the phone. So guys, thank you so much for watching this video. If you haven't watched my iPhone review or the quick unboxing for this phone, make sure to head to the channel and you'll be able to see those videos right there. Go ahead and give them a watch. Subscribe to my channel if you haven't, guys. Let's try to hit 70 subscribers by the end of this month. Let's try to hit that 70 subscribers goal, and if possible, let's try to hit, or you know what, I'll even aim a little bit higher. Let's pass 100 subscribers before the end of this year. So thank you guys so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, guys, let me know down in the comments down below what next video you want to see. Maybe if you want to see the the Razer review, I can review that phone, or the Razer Plus, I can review it. But this has been it, guys, from me. Make sure to like, subscribe, and turn on post notifications so you're notified when I do upload another video. I will try to stay consistent by uploading 2 videos each week. It is kind of hard for me as a small tech YouTuber to try to record every day and just upload every day, but I will definitely promise to be posting 2 videos a week, guys. So this has been it. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I hope you enjoyed this video. Until next time, peace.